Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. From the jungle, from the islands, we're out here. So I've just got some quick food for thought and an invitation for the guys. The food for thought is for everybody. And if you're a woman watching this, the invitation, maybe this is something you can send to a guy in your life, a quality guy, and we're looking specifically for 18 to 24-year-olds. But here's the food for thought. Listen, because this affects you if you're a Christian, especially living in the West, in Protestant Christianity, and the blessings, but often like sneaky comforts that we have. We often think about the idea of giving our lives to Jesus. We often talk about it, laying our lives down at the altar, surrendering our lives to Jesus. However you want to put it, it's all just different language and different semantics around this idea that we know when we're called to follow the Lord. We, like Jesus says, we have our hand on the plow and we don't look back. We've given ourselves to him. We lay everything down. That the loss of our life is actually the profit of our souls. That in trying to keep and maintain our life, we're actually losing. So we know that we need to give ourselves to him, lose ourselves to him, surrender ourselves to him. And we think about it all the time because it's in the scriptures. If you open the word, we think about it, we talk about it in our day-to-day lives with other believers. But my question and my conviction that I've been feeling for myself recently is, how do I put that in practice? Because Christianity is an action word. Christianity is not just a doctrine or system of beliefs. If it was, I don't think it's any different than other things in the world, other philosophies that we could follow. It's just something to think about and talk about. It's just a social club. If it's not an action word, the early church was known not just for what it believed, which was the resurrection of Jesus Christ as the Messiah, fulfilled the Old Testament scriptures, not just known for the fact that they believed that, but they were known for what they did. You look at Acts 2:42 through 46, that they devoted themselves to the breaking of bread, to the apostles' teachings, to fellowship, to prayers, radical community and generosity. They shared all that they had in common with each other. They were doing life together. They were doing what Christ told them to do, not just instructing others in what Christ told them to do. They were doing it. And Jesus said, if you love me, you will what? It's not believe my commands, it's obey my commands. And that's a doing word, which for me and hopefully for many of us is convicting, because we don't often live in the external pressure or the internal pressure of, okay, I have to actually do this thing. I have to give my life to Jesus. It's not just a symbol and a concept. It's a thing, like my life is a tangible thing that I actually have to tangibly give it to Jesus. And so that's my food for thought. And the question, maybe the call to action is, how are you practically, in an action way, giving your life to Jesus, or surrendering your life to him, or laying your life down on the altar for him, whatever language you want to use? How are you doing that in action? And moving into the invitation piece, it's also an inspiration piece. I've been incredibly encouraged by the guys that come here. I mean, the women too, of course, but I'm just focusing on the guys for a second. Because guys, we often think about, what am I going to do for my career? What am I going to do for my family or my future family? What am I going to do for, we could just keep going of that provider instinct, that gatherer instinct of what am I doing for these things, that we often lose sight of the fact that God wants us to lay those things down for him. We seek first the kingdom and his righteousness, and in return, all these things will be added to us. We don't seek all these things and then the kingdom as a supplement. So I've been incredibly inspired by the guys that come through here, specifically the dudes that are here right now this fall. They've all in some tangible way laid down something, whether it is career aspirations for a season of time, whether it is their studies for a season of time, whether it is their family lives or their hometowns or whatever it may be. They've all laid down something, like actually laid it down, not as a concept or symbol, but given it over to Jesus and said, Lord, I believe you're calling me to this place. I believe you're calling me to Kauai for a season of time to be equipped to have leadership calling activated within me to be yoked to you in meaningful work on the land, tending farmland, baking bread, doing our farm to market micro business. And in return, I believe that even though I'm leaving these things that I love behind, that you will transform me in the process, and I will be sent back to these things a new man, a transformed man. And I've been incredibly inspired by not just the attitude that our guys have had around that, and not just like the thought process they've had around that, but specifically the actual action, like the putting their money where their mouth is and doing the Christian thing of giving themselves over to Jesus, of surrendering to him and pressing in this session. It's been incredible. And the fruit when you do that is just, it's obvious, it's impeccable. And yeah, that's my little inspiration piece. And the invitation is that we keep these sessions rolling year round. We've got a spring session coming up. I don't want to sit here and sell you another program, another product. I'm sure there's other places in the world that are doing really cool things, but we've got some cool stuff going on here. And I truly believe if you're watching this and you're interested, if you're keen on the islands, if you're keen on all that we do, we're not just a discipleship school and ministry school. We also do all of this land work and all the parables that you see in the Bible of shepherding and tending the land and bread. We're doing it, and we're learning how to be yoked to Jesus. Like he says, his yoke is easy. That is a word that implies work still, that we're experiencing a light burden by working and partnering, not for him or to him as a concept, but with him as an action. And so we do that not just in learning and consuming passive information, but in actually doing things with our hands. This could be an opportunity for you if any of that sounds interesting. And if you're a guy, we've got spots open this spring 2026. I wholeheartedly trust and believe that God is going to bring the right guys, the right amount of guys, but I want to just let you all know that we've got guys spots open. So if something in this video calls out to you, I pray that you will consider it, pray about it, and may God be given the glory with whatever decisions you make. But guys, spots are open 2026 at HLR. Come serve with us. We activate young leaders on their global gospel adventure through immersive discipleship, hands-on service, and intentional community. Come check us out, and praise be to the Lamb. Praise to the Lamb. Let's actually, as Christians, all work to practice giving our lives over to Jesus, surrendering our lives to Jesus, laying our lives on the altar. Let's all work to practice that, to be an example of what Romans says, a living sacrifice, not a concept of sacrifice, but a living sacrifice. We present our bodies as a living sacrifice, for that is our spiritual worship. Let's do it. Christ followers, peace.